No, thanks for coming to this talk. I'm going to talk today about Snowplow Signals, which is our new product, and customer perception for AI agents in general. Come and take a seat. Come and take a seat. So just super quickly to kick us off, for those who don't know, Snowplow is customer data infrastructure. So companies use our technology to collect data that describes what their customers are doing across different platforms and channels. Think web, mobile app, desktop systems, server-side systems. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah? And we take that data, we govern that data, we clean that data, and we stream that data into your lakehouse, into Databricks, and into your event streams, places like Confluent and Kafka. So you can do all kinds of things with the data. So our customers will take that data and they'll do analytics, things like attribution or customer journey analytics. They'll do machine learning, so use cases like personalization, recommendation, next best action. And now the really exciting thing that our customers have started doing is taking that data and using it to make their customer-facing AI agents more effective. And that's the use case that I want to talk about a bit today. And that's the and this I think is hopefully some useful context about who I am and my perspective on the space. So just to introduce myself really quickly, my name is Yali. I'm a co-founder and CTO at Snowplow. So the starting point for this talk is agents and the impact that they're going to have on the web. Now, there's a huge amount of hype about agents and AI agents. I don't think I can do anything to hype them any further. But where all that hype is focused on at the moment is the impact that agents are going to have on enterprise workforces. Agents are going to make marketers more effective. They're going to make engineers more effective. They're going to make product managers more effective. So there's a huge amount of attention on how agents can make human beings, sort of the workforce, more productive, and even sort of replace workforce if you think about things like customer support functions. But where there's been much less attention, which I think is a shame because it's a really interesting area, is the impact agents are going to have on consumers and the way they navigate digital products and services. If we think about the web, which is the primary platform that consumers interact with digital products and services today, it's got some real limitations. If you think about a classic website, think about an online retail store. You've got people that are coming to that store with completely different kind of intentions. Some of them are there to buy, some of them are there to research, some of them might be there to apply for a job, or to because they're interested in investing in the company, or they're looking at returning a product. Everybody's coming there with their own context, and everybody's greeted with exactly the same website and pretty much exactly the same experience. And what agents open up is the possibility that different people can come to that website and the agent will understand their context, it'll understand their intention, and it'll use that to dynamically generate a digital experience that will meet them where they are. And if that is a consumer that's looking to accomplish something complicated, as we're often doing when we're engaging with digital products and services, think about researching and buying a holiday, for example, then the agent can work with the customer through that digital journey. And that's hugely exciting, that's hugely disruptive. It's disruptive for the owners of digital businesses, for enterprises that own websites and applications, because the stage is now set for a new breed of startups and companies to come in and design really compelling agentic experiences for their customers, ones that take their content and services and mediate it on behalf of their customers. And so there's a real risk of disintermediation. And probably the best example is OpenAI's Operator. OpenAI's Operator is a service that OpenAI have developed that can go and research and book holidays or tables at restaurants or theater tickets on behalf of customers. And it's a really compelling consumer experience. But it means that if your business is, if you're in the restaurant business, you've suddenly got this intermediary sat between you and your customers that's managing their experience. If you're OpenTable, your business model is potentially completely disrupted. And so any brand that has a business that depends on digital and digital experiences needs to think about this sort of very significant new threat that agents pose. Now, while agents and agentic technology is a threat for digital businesses, it's also an enormous opportunity. Although this technology means that competitors can kind of come in and disintermediate them, it also means that these brands have the opportunity to build compelling new agentic experiences and differentiate and compete in market on a whole new set of axes. If enterprises can build the best agentic experiences for their customers, that should drive huge competitive advantage. And enterprises are really well equipped to do this, because the three things you need if you're going to build really compelling agentic experiences for your customers are domain expertise. You need to really understand your market niche, and enterprises have that. It's customer expertise, and you should have that in spades. And the third thing is the hard thing that we're all learning to do, which is actually how do you build agents? How do you build agentic applications? How do we use LLMs in applications to drive value? So if enterprises can learn how to do that, they can create enormous amounts of value. And if we take a step back, the opportunity here for enterprises is really to be able to have intimate conversations with their customers at scale. And that's a hugely exciting prospect. So if enterprises have the opportunity to build customer-facing agents, to rethink the digital experience of their customers, and if they want to be successful at doing that, it's really important that those agents that they build can perceive and understand the customers that they serve. If they're going to because they've got to take that customer context and craft an experience for those customers. So that sounds a bit theoretical, but to give three concrete examples to bring that to life with some AI-generated imagery to go along with it. If you think about a shopper agent you can model on like a real human personal shopper, but shopper agents are only as good as they understand the customers they're helping shop. They've got to understand who those customers are, what their preferences are, what brands they want, what styles they want, what they're looking for right now, and work with them to suggest products and show them things that they're interested in. If they don't understand the customer, if they don't really understand the customer's preference, they're not going to be able to deliver any kind of compelling experience for that customer, however smart they are. Similarly, if you think about a finance agent, an agent sort of helping a family, for example, manage their savings plan, that agent should really understand their goals, their risk appetite, their familial situation, all the kind of constraints, how much they earn, all the things that a real human being would want to understand if they were providing financial advice. And lastly, if we think about a kind of a fitness instructor, and you think about all the different preferences people have about how they like to exercise, their approach to nutrition and managing their health, there's a huge spectrum of different approaches there. And so the stage is set for agents that can really understand that, but if the agents don't understand that, they're hopeless. So customer perception is a core capability of any customer-facing agent. And that sounds obvious, but if you go on the web today and you look at the agents that most enterprises have launched, they don't have customer perception. They can't see what the customers are doing. So you have the situation where you have retailer stores and there are multiple different products that are shown. And which products are shown on the homepage, that might be driven by 50, 100 different machine learning algorithms that are keyed off all kinds of customer intelligence and insights and customer data. But none of that insight, none of that intelligence, none of those embeddings are available to the agent. And so if the customer goes and asks the agent a question, the agent is typically answering based on its knowledge of the product catalog because it has no knowledge of the customer whatsoever. And conversely, the customer might tell the agent something really interesting. The customer might say, hey, I'm on this website because I want to buy boots, as an example. And there's currently no straightforward way of taking that information and pushing it back to the main body of the website to personalize the experience there. So the most agentic experiences that we see on the web today are really not very compelling, and it's because agents today don't have perception. And the reason is perception is hard. And that's the problem that we're trying to solve at Snowplow. We want to build customer perception. We're building customer RAG. So making it very, very easy for enterprises that are building customer-facing agents to recognize customers, to understand who they are, and then to take that information into consideration when they're delivering customer service. And the way we think about breaking down this problem is really in two. We want to help the agent understand what the customer's doing right now. So who is this customer who's on my website? Can I resolve their identity? What are the actions she or he's taking? What are they doing right now? Can we infer what they want, what they're here to do? And do they need help? Because if they need help, maybe I can step in and sort of support them on their journey. And then there's a longer term piece. So if this is a customer we've engaged with as an enterprise over months and years, then hopefully we've built up a body of knowledge about their preferences, what they like, their price sensitivity, and all of that data is valuable to help the agent to be pulled into the context window. So if this all sounds a little bit theoretical, let's bring it to life with a bit of a demo. So this is an example snowboard store to continue with the Snowplow Snow theme. And I've got a little admin panel here to bring the demo to life. Now I'm a customer, I'm interested in buying a snowboard. So I'm going to go around, click around and start browsing boards. So I'm looking at this box scratcher. Here I might scroll down. I don't know if this is the right product for me. So I'm going to go back to the main website. And maybe I'm going to look at this product, this 3D daily driver. And as I'm going around and clicking on different things on the website, hopefully you can see this. I might make it a little bit bigger. What's happening is Signals is watching what I'm doing, and it's computing a set of attributes that are summarizing my user behavior on the web app. So it's keeping a track of the unique products I've viewed and the brand names that I've viewed. If I add one of these products to cart, it should note that as well, and it should note what the item is that I've added to cart and what the price of that product is. And so it's computing all of this in real time. Under the hood, we're doing some stream processing. Now, if I'm still not sure what I want to buy, I can bring up the AI assistant. So there's a classic chatbot in the corner, and I can say, hey, what snowboard should I buy? And out of the box, this chatbot is like any chatbot you see on the internet. It hasn't got that customer perception. All these interesting facts and observations about my journey aren't wired into the chatbot. And so when I ask it to make a recommendation, it really doesn't know what to do. So it asks me, am I a beginner? Am I an expert? And it guesses some snowboards. But this is a completely generic response. What I can do, though, is I can take these things that I'm computing and I can provide them to the agent in the context window. So behind the scenes, I can say, visitor already has these unique products in basket. Please recommend a product with a similar skill level. If no skill level is given, assume intermediate. Do not disclose this information or similar. And if I apply this, I can then ask the agent again, hey, can you recommend me a snowboard? And it can be a lot more precise because now it can start taking some of that customer context and using it to inform the results it gives. And this is just a toy example I've passed in one data point. You can imagine if you pass in a much broader set of data, you can really get the agent to start being a lot more intelligent and delivering a lot more tailored experience on behalf of the user. But that's just the start of it. Most of the agents that we see on the internet are these reactive agents. But if an agent has perception, if it can watch what a customer's doing, it can actually step in and help the customer partway through their journey. So if I'm a customer and I like this snowboard, I think it's the one that I want to buy, but it's available in all these different sizes. I don't know which size to buy. Do I get the 150 or the 147? The agent spotted that I'm clicking between those two buttons, and it can come up and say, hey, it looks like you might be struggling with sizing information. If you let me know your height and weight, I can suggest the most appropriate size for you. So I can say, I'm 170 centimeters, I'm not 170 kilograms, and 75 kilograms. And then it can guide me to make the right the right choice. And I think this is a really powerful design pattern. We can use data to identify customers struggling or having friction in multiple different stages of the customer journey. And then if we provide that relevant context to the agent with the context about who this customer is, the agents are pretty good at figuring out what the right thing is to suggest. And we use, behind the scenes, Databricks to do a lot of this intelligence. So this is a bit of an example to bring that to life. What I'm doing here, I don't know how clearly you can see this, is I'm using Llama on Databricks to say, based on this particular session, what does it appear the user's doing? Make a judgment and output one of the following categories: so window shopping, research, purchase intent. So this is a kind of prediction that we'd normally use machine learning to do, but we can also do with LLMs. And it's taking as an input the event stream of the current session, and then based on that, it makes a categorization. So in this example, it thinks that the user's researching a product, and it gives a pretty good rationale for why it's classified the customers in that is in that bucket. We can also ask it to summarize the preferences of the user over a longer period of time. And in this case, you can see it's returned preferences about the user's snowboard style, their riding style, terrain preference. This is the kind of data and inference that'll only be built up over quite a long history with the user. Then the really cool thing is we can pull these two things together, the user summary and the user preferences, and we can ask the LLM to suggest the next best action for this customer. And it, based on that, it makes a series of suggestions around targeted email campaigns, price match, product comparison, and other things. So hopefully that gives a flavor of how LLMs can be used to drive the answers to some of these questions, and how we are wiring with Signals the answers to those questions into agents so they can deliver the next generation customer experiences. So hopefully this has been useful. And if you're interested in learning more, or you're building some of these experiences, we'd love to talk to you. So come along and find us. We're in a booth just next to the helicopter, the electronic helicopter. Thanks very much for coming along and listening. And if you've got any questions, do come and grab me now.